Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Scary Stories Part 2. Today is going to be some ASMR. No, I'm just kidding.
That's good.
No, I'm joking. But we're going to have a series of stories, and today we are accompanied by the one, the only, Jayders1. How you doing, Jayders?
I'm doing great, man. You know how it is. I'm doing great. I am doing great. I am glad to come here. I'm glad to see my boy Chris always helping me with amazing footage. And today, I'm glad to be a part of Scary Stories. Now, let's give it to Chris's mother, Mama Chris.
Hi everybody, nice to see you again. You saw me in part 1, so hope you guys like this part 2, Scary Stories. Chris, we had a good audience last time, so hope to get the double this time.
So, today, I guess we'll just hand it off to whoever wants to start off. Who wants to start off? Because if not, you guys don't want to. You want to go first? There you go.
I'll go first.
Right.
So, this one's a scary story that my grandfather told me. I never had that many crazy scary stories in my life, but this one right here is a good one because my grandfather is someone I look up to. My grandfather is a very straightforward, respectful guy who was born in Costa Rica, and I have much love for him, and he's never told a lie ever to me, and the story he's told me is very crazy. So this took place about 40, 50 years ago. This is a long story, and my great-grandma could vouch for this story. So one day, my grandpa was driving and coming from a party. I think it was a party or a club, but he was coming from somewhere, and it was located in San Diego, California. And he was in this area called North Park. And from North Park, he was going towards this place called Lemon Grove, which are two different areas within San Diego that are like 10, 15 minutes away. And so one day, as my grandfather was going down this back alley towards Lemon Grove, he was driving in his lowrider because he loved driving lowriders. And he saw this woman, and it was really dark. It was around 2 to 3 a.m. It was really, really late. And he saw this lady in a white dress walking down a street or walking alone. And so he was driving up, and he was so serious about this. And to this day, he never stops talking about the story because of how surreal it is. So as he's driving down and he sees this lady in a white dress walking alone in the middle of night, he goes up to her and starts driving up. He said, "Hey, do you need a ride somewhere?" It's like, "Oh, yes, I need to go to this place, blah, 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 blah." And so she hops in the car with him, and they start driving 10, 15 minutes to the destination. She said it was at a park or nearby this park. And so as they're driving and they start talking, it's like 15 minutes. They start to get to know each other, and my grandfather, as a young age, wanted to hook up with this girl. And so they go to this parking lot near Lemon Grove, and they just met, right? And so they get into the back seat of his car, which is like a 2-door lowrider, and they start talking with each other, and they just, start kissing. And at this point, as he starts taking off his shirt and she takes off her shirt, she starts laughing as she's taking off her shirt. She's like, she starts laughing uncontrollably. And so my grandfather is like in shock, why is she laughing, right? But as she's slowly taking off her shirt, she shows her face, and her grin is super high, super smiley, to the point her eyes start widening and she starts laughing. She's like like an intense laugh, and my grandfather starts freaking out. Her face starts paling, and she's a different person. It starts becoming a demonic laugh, deep voice, demonic. And my grandfather starts tripping out, and he says, you're gonna have to bleep this out, "Get the fuck out of my car!" And then so she starts in the two front seat in the lowrider. She starts because they're in the back, and they had to get, the only way to get out of the seat was if you go through the door. She morphed, she went backwards to get out. How you describe it was crazy, but she looked at him dead in the eyes while she's going backwards to get out the car. And he hops in the front seat quickly and just fucking like dries away. Like he like hits the gas, and then like she's just standing there by the passenger seat like laughing uncontrollably, and then he just like dries off, right? He dries off and he's freaking out, and he like how he explains this story is crazy to me. Like he's like there's no lie to this. So as he's freaking out, he's driving down like 5-10 minutes away, just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened, right? As he's driving, swear to God on everything I love, excuse me, Lord, in Lord's name, vain, he sees this girl right next to a stop sign from a distance staring at him down laughing as he's driving 10-15 minutes away. He freaked out even more, hits the gas, screaming like, oh shit, freaking out, and goes all the way home, and then just starts banging on the door, running out, and just like telling my grandma, like, grandma, mom, like just starts banging, and she lets him in, and my great grandma can vouch for him. His face was pale as white, and he could not sleep. It had screwed him over for weeks. It was the most scariest thing he's ever experienced in his life. And my grandma could vouch for him, and it was just crazy on how he was explaining, and it was crazy. And ever since then, that thing or that possession never came back to him again. And so that was the most scariest story ever. Some can argue that it could not have been real and that it could be made up, but as a person, as my grandfather, if you met my grandfather, of how straightforward he is and how he doesn't lie and how real he can keep it to people, this is the truest story he's ever said. So yeah, this was a scary story. So
This scary story consists of me and, well, again, my brother. We were both at my father's house, his old house, and this house was very, very much haunted. And one day while we were sleeping in the living room, I'll never forget this. We were sleeping in the living room because my uncle had taken over our rooms, and well, we didn't necessarily have a room anymore. But anyways, we were in the living room, and I remember one day waking up, or one night to be specific, waking up, and my brother's asleep. The TV is on, it's fine. But since the TV is super bright, and like, how when you're looking off like to places that are darker, like it's hard to see exactly what's in the shadows because of the bright TV. So anyways, that's basically what was happening. So as I was waking up, I was able to see clearly down the hallway, like block out the light. And so since the end of the hallway was right next to the couches that we were at, how do you call it? How do you say? There was this figure. It was this dark, shadowy figure that was standing at the end of the hallway, and it was a tall, old person that was just standing there. And I felt like, I swear to God on everything, I saw this, and it was just watching us sleep, and I couldn't believe my eyes. Like I was scared to death, but luckily the more that I stared at it, I didn't see it move, so like I felt in a way like I was terrified, but at the same time I felt safe, thinking that as long as the light is on, or the TV is on, illuminating light towards us, it's not going to come to us. So then after that, I turn off, or should I not turn off? I go back to bed, I go back to bed because I try to close my eyes to, not look at it anymore. So I turn around, and then I look ahead, about like 2 minutes later, I open my eyes and I look right back at that same area, and the thing is gone. But my dad had these two doors that closed together like this, and then it had like blinds. So like, you could only see like very little bit with your eyes, like this, basically. Like, cause there were like lines and all that. So so I was looking at that, and normally I'd be able to see everything that's outside in the backyard, and there's always lights, but I was noticing as I was looking, there was something blocking the lights that were outside. And so I started to make out a figure as I started moving my eyes left to right, and I could see the body of that same shadow man, but on the other side of that door. And oh my God, I was so terrified. I remember I went to go wake up my uncle, and I went to go sleep in his bed that night, and I left my brother there, unfortunately, but it was every man for himself at that point. And so I slept with him, and like a couple nights later, I wake up, and luckily nobody was around me around that area. No shadow man, no nothing. But I do remember that one time when I went to go get some water in the kitchen, I looked outside in in the backyard that he had, and I saw him standing in the grass area that was there. So I knew that for a fact that I wasn't tripping the night before, because for a second I thought I was dreaming, but after that I never doubted my senses again. I swear to God on everything that I saw this dark old shadow man just staring at us every single night, almost every single night. I don't want to be too dramatic, but yeah, that's my story for the night. And to end off our stories, I'm pass to my mother.
I guess the best stories out there, scary stories, is the ones that our mom and dad and, aunts tells us all the time. And my mom, well, my family, we have all encountered paranormal stuff, all our life, I think. So we always like to gather around because the moms have the best stories ever. Well, my mom told me this story, that back then when she had just had my oldest brother, I think, her and my dad had this huge house, and my dad used to like to go out and drink with the friends. She used to get mad at him, right? Like, because he'll come home late and she'll be waiting for him and everything. This day, my mom had it that day. He was like, this is happening too many times. When he gets home, I'm gonna go at him, telling him that I'm done and him coming home drunk and all this. So she said that she kind of heard that my dad was coming with his friends, because he will always arrive with some friends drunk. So that my dad came in and my mom saw him, and she was like so mad at him because he was drunk again. He was almost, tumbling and stuff. And she started just going at him and starting, saying bad words. And I can't believe you're drunk again and stuff. So my dad was so drunk that he just like went straight to the room and ignored my mom, whatever she was saying. So my mom got more mad because my dad ignored her. So my mom says that she started like closing all the windows in the house and, saying all kinds of bad words and the doors and everything. And she said as she was about to close one of the last doors, a big, huge black dog like appeared in the front of the door and with red eyes just looking at her. And my mom got so afraid because it was just looking at her like it wanted a charge at her. So my mom, what she did was she got in, closed the door, and went into her room with the baby and started cuddling up with the baby and started crying, and she got really scared. And by then my dad saw her like she was so scared that he was like, what happened? And my mom told him, this was this big ass huge dog in the front of the house and scared me, and like I never seen a dog so big. So my dad got up, even like got sober, seeing my mom also scared. So they went out and started searching for this dog. Well, nobody ever found the dog. There was no dog around there. Nobody had dogs around where she lived at or anything like that. And my mom said that dog, how they say that the devil, that's the way it appears sometimes in the form of a dog and stuff. And since my mom was so mad at my dad and started saying all these bad words to him and, just lashing at him, that was probably what manifested her anger, manifested that dog to appear to her. So she will stop saying all those bad words and calm down, because my dad had come so drunk. So after that, my mom said that she will never forget the image in her head about this dog that scared the hell out of her. And so many other stories that we have for you guys, but that was one of my mom's stories that she told me. So she always would tell us, mira, in Spanish, you better behave because se te va a aparecer el diablo. The devil's gonna appear to you or something like that. Always used to scare us. So yeah, that's my story for you guys.
Well, we don't want to spoil all of our good stories on just one episode or on 2 episodes that we've done so far. So we're going to end it here.
I got another story.
No, that. So if you guys would love to see more, let me know, or I'll put it down in a poll on Instagram like you guys voted last time. And make sure to like this video. If you're new here, why not subscribe? I mean, all it takes is just one click, and we're going to be doing more of these per your guys' request as well, because I just want to do what you guys want. I want to make sure that you guys are enjoying the content I want to make sure I can also, I want to be able to put out that content as best as I can. You know, I can't do everything in the world. You know, I'm not rich or nothing, but I'm gonna do what I can for you guys because I love each and every single one of you. Thank you guys so much.
Not yet, Chris.
What?
Nah, you're not wealthy yet. You'll get there though. You'll get there, my man. But I just want to say, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, make sure to like and subscribe to my boy Chris. And if you don't, I'll find where you live. Ain't that right, Chris?
Yeah. Both of us will. We both knock on the door. We'll slam it down.
Yeah, we'll be right there. My boy Chris is going to be a great man. He already is. Subscribe to him. This is history right here in the making.
Indeed.
This is history.
We'll see you guys in the next scary stories or the next video. Laters. What the fuck that was right there.